Hello and welcome back to the hellscape that is 2020. And if you're watching this in the distant future of any time that isn't now, it's been exactly this long since I went into quarantine. I got a haircut like maybe a week or two before California went into shelter in place, and I haven't gotten one since. So this is all COVID's doing. So I've gotten to work on a lot of cool projects while I've been in quarantine, and one of the projects that was really fun for me was our DC partnership with Wonder Woman. Not just because I'm a huge fan of Wonder Woman, but because it presented itself as a new challenge of something I hadn't done before. And when I got the script of what we wanted to do with the trailer, I had all these great ideas in my head that I was not totally convinced I could execute on, but you know what? I just said, sure, yeah, I can do that. I can totally do that. I've definitely done that before. Sometimes that's what you gotta do when you want to do a project that you've never done before. You just gotta say, yeah, I know how to do that. And then you figure it out as you go. So I'm gonna show you what I figured out, which was probably not the most efficient way to do this, but it's the way I did it, and it worked. So I'm using a plugin inside of After Effects called Element 3D. You definitely don't need to use this method. This is just the way that I know, so this is what I used. There are free ways to do this that are probably even better and more suited for this kind of thing. Like you could use Blender, but I don't know Blender. I know After Effects, so I used After Effects. And as you can see, when you scrub through, it looks good. Like this looks professionally built. But I'm going to give you a little peek behind the scenes into just how janky this is. So I'm going to go ahead and pop open the scene setup for Element 3D, and you can take a look at how we built this here. How I built this here. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but this is all my doing. All this janky mess. So you can see we got kind of like these walls here and like this cheap little window that I've modeled. There's not even like glass or anything. It's just a window frame. I just wanted to cast kind of a shadow of a window on here. So then we've got these items that you unlock in Roblox, and like that's part of the whole point of this trailer, was to show off the environment and the items that you can unlock. So I put them as like these cool collectibles on this Wonder Woman fans wall. And then on the other side of the window, we just got this stock photo of some city. Not even sure what city it is. I just looked up city sunset, and this is what came up. So this wall is just like one single piece, which is just a drywall texture that I colored blue because it's a single wall. It's not too complicated. But this one, I wanted to put a hole in the middle for the window. But Element 3D doesn't offer that kind of thing, which is again somewhere where it's like, if I had the forethought to do so, I would have just modeled this wall in Blender and then imported it as an OBJ. But I decided to do it quick and dirty and model the whole thing inside of Element 3D. This wall is just like a bunch of different random chunks that I sort of like stuck together to make the shape I wanted for the window. And then this is like just a box with another box through the middle of it. So here you go. That's how this entire thing is kind of hacked together. So this is sort of how I set up my camera. I knew I wanted to pan down from between these two posters to kind of show off this cool item, and down towards what would be the next shot where the comic book is. So this is what it looks like at full render without any of the lights. I have the depth of field set really shallow because I like the way it looks when you're kind of showing off product photography. And since this is technically the product that we're selling, I wanted to sort of stick to that feeling, but also kind of put you in the environment of this like Wonder Woman fans' bedroom where they have all these cool collector's items on the wall. So once I had the camera set up and I had my little pan movement here set in, it was time to set up the lighting. So I started with my key light here, which I just wanted to kick some light right onto our subject, which is of course the sword. And naturally that means that the rest of the room is going to look really dark, but that's lighting. First you cut out all the light and then you shape it how you want. Like this room right here, it's very dark in here if I turn off all these lights. And then after I put in the key light, I wanted to get some more light into this corner here where we've got the lasso, because that's another one of the products that we want to show off. And plus it makes it look like the room is more vibrant and alive and not all gloomy and dark. So toss that guy in there. As you can see, it's just like a kicker light that jumps right onto the lasso. And then finally, I wanted it to look like the sunset was kind of coming in through the window. So we've got this light, this very bright light that I set to sunlight, which is 5200 Kelvin, coming in through this window here. Now that we're in the actual camera view, we'll do our key light, our kicker into the corner there, and then the sunlight coming through. Now, in order to give more realistic shadows, we go into the shadows. Really complicated stuff, I know. And I'm just gonna enable shadows. And as you can see, it's already giving me a look that looks a lot more natural, especially coming in through the window here. But if you'll notice, this edge right here is like kind of jagged and gross looking, and like when you scrub through the animation, the shadows just aren't quite as natural looking as I want them to be. And that's when this latest version of Element 3D comes in handy, because they've added ray tracing. And since I've got a big beefy graphics card in this machine, I can utilize ray tracing. So switch on ray tracing and bam, you'll see we've got this like beautiful streak of light coming from the window. It's casting these like really beautiful natural shadows, and the scene looks more like how I pictured in my head, of like the sun starting to set and you're getting this beautiful streak of light coming through the window. Anytime I'm building like a completely digital thing, adding a good color grade to it just makes it look more rich and like quote unquote realistic. I wasn't going for like super realistic here, but definitely like more like it was shot and not just built inside of After Effects. And I started with just tossing some simple diffusion on there. That's usually the first thing I do when I bring like something really sharp like this into After Effects. It's just tossing a little diffusion on there, just kind of warms it up, brings it to life a little bit, makes it less like jagged digital edges. And then to take it even one step further, I like to toss in some haze. And what that haze is going to do is basically just imagine you had a smoke machine in here and you just like cranked it up to 11 and let it blow for a second and then you turned it off. That's sort of what this haze and flare filter adds to it. And it adds like some cool kind of lens effects, as if like the sunlight is actually coming in and hitting the lens and refracting in a way that creates a really subtle flare instead of like a J.J. Abrams level flare. And I think it just adds more of a natural feel to it. I'm a sucker for a vignette, and I toss it on everything, even things that probably don't need a vignette, but I love a good vignette. So I got one tossed on here to kind of like single out the sword, which is definitely our like main focal point. And I just really want to pull the eye into the center here, and I love a vignette for that, so I tossed that on there. And then I got a film print here. It's a Kodak film print because I like the like very vibrant colors that Kodak film print brings in. But whenever you throw a film print in on looks, it's going to be super dark because it's exposing it in the way that you would expose film. And when it's a digital effect like this, you're not bringing in that much light. So I always toss in a film negative, which kind of brings all that back up, kind of boosts it up. And when I'm doing digital effects, for some reason, I love the Fujifilm Eterna. It just adds like a really vibrant punch. I love really exaggerated, saturated colors, and the Eterna digital film print really brings that in. So that's why I always go with that. And yeah, that's how I built this opening shot for the Wonder Woman trailer. Maybe I'll dive into the next shot. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see how long it takes me to edit and upload this video. But this was pretty fun. Just kind of stepping through like a project that I did for Roblox that I liked and my boss seemed to like, so you know, that doesn't hurt. Yeah, if any of the like 9 people that watch this video want to see more, let me know and I'll keep making these. But in the meantime, I hope this was at least somewhat educational and makes me look cool. Because at the end of the day, that's the point of this, right? Looking cool.